Hello, folks. So my name is Rich, and I have a guest because why not? Um, I'm gonna really just make this real, put him on the spot kind of moments here. This is the X's and O's of life, and this is the interviews that we've been chucking in randomly throughout the week. So I'm gonna chuck it to him, and he's gonna introduce himself and do all the fancy pants stuff that people do, and we're gonna have a conversation.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Rich. I appreciate it. My name is Marc Paysant. I haven't had to introduce myself in a while, not in a formal work setting that I'm meeting somebody new, but I live outside of Atlanta, Georgia, former collegiate soccer player, father, husband, certified personal trainer, nutritionist, youth soccer coach, and also a podcast host. I have two podcasts, Relatively Normal, which focuses on mental health and advocacy for that, and the 6 a.m. Run podcast, where it has run in the title. It's really about fitness and nutrition, but a lot more than that. We get people on that kind of talk about, things that pertain to life, parenting, workplace stuff. So we kind of want to have a good, organic, authentic show where people can put it on while they're running or working out and listen to good conversation. So that's pretty much it. And I guess I should mention that I am a big advocate for mental health and mental health resources and people, making sure they take care of themselves mentally and opening up and talking about the things that bother them the most.
So basically, you're just good at everything I'm not. Got it. Super glad I brought you on. No, I feel terrible about myself. Thank you. So, no, man, that's real cool because I think mental health is a bit of a kind of a controversial, dirty word, right? A lot of folks hear it and they just almost kind of get bogged down with the whole, well, here we go. This is going to go strictly to the depression thing and everything is terrible. And no, I think, I don't even know how to put it.
You're 1,000% right. And that's kind of the space that I try to live in, where I want people to understand that the conversation doesn't have to go dark and it doesn't have to go negative. Like when we talk about mental health, we can just talk about how you're feeling that day. Like,
right.
I had somebody explain it to me the best a couple weeks ago, where they said the last time I checked, most people we would assume that are alive and breathing and kicking and talking have a brain in their skull. So that means they have feelings.
That's debatable.
That's debatable. I understand that. But you would assume that means that they have feelings. And no one ever said that those feelings are always negative and they're always depressing and they're always anxious or nervous feelings. Now, do we do a good job, a lot of us, of masking those feelings because we want to put out a good front and have that happy smile on our face? Yes. But why not be able to just say, today I don't have it, or today I have it, or mark when we're having good days as much as we mark when we don't have good days. So you're 1,000% correct when once someone mentions those two words, mental health, it's like, oh crap, I gotta talk about this person being depressed or being in a terrible mood. So you're right. I agree with you.
It's sad too, man. Like it's by the way, just to kind of put a disclaimer out here, use whatever words you want. There is no kind of rules here. So if you get all loosey goosey with the tongue, no worries. It's more, honestly, it really comes down to if you're cool with it, because who knows how this goes. So if you're feeling frisky, go ahead and let them fly. I'm still generally new to the interview process, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm still like working that stuff in where
Right.
it's like I should maybe put a disclaimer out there. Hey, you can use ings and ers if you want.
Yeah.
It's all good. Don't worry about it. Anywho, um, yeah, it's one of those weird, stupid human things we do
Mm-hmm.
where, and it's not even just mental health. I mean, yeah, we're talking about that right now, but for the most part, we are negative creatures. We tend to look on the dark side before we actually use our rational noggins to really, oh, well, you know what? That actually makes sense. Maybe we should not look at that like everything is
Mm-hmm.
on fire. And maybe mental health could be, yeah, I'm stoked to be alive today
Right.
because I don't know, I woke up and didn't die.
So
Fantastic.
there's so many things about that, and you bring up like these are absolutely great points that you're bringing up because we're going back to our caveman brain and our monkey brain where literally like when we didn't have there was nothing to alert us of incoming danger. We didn't have any kind of system that said a tiger was loose. We didn't have anybody to tell us there are predators that are in the wild. So we were naturally anxious and nervous with any sound because we just wanted to stay alive and we wanted to keep our families safe. Now, at that point in human evolution, like there was no sitting down with a therapist and talking about how you feel. Like it was reactionary. So as humans evolve and we find ways to stay alive better than any creature in the planet, we still have those feelings. Like we still have them. And some people do a good job of working through them. And some people do a good job of having coping mechanisms and understanding their triggers. And then some people's brains are just wired differently where they have
Yeah, they are.
they just have that high functioning anxiety or those depressive thoughts that we need to be able to at least tell that person that they're valid in their thoughts. Now, we also, which I had to learn the hard way, we also have to understand that our feelings make things real, even when they're not real. And you bring up a good point that we always go to the negative. We always feel something bad is going to happen. When, in theory, I could have had a great 10-year run, but still in the 11th year, I'm going to think everything is going to fall apart.
Yeah, you're just waiting for that other shoe to drop.
Just waiting. And to me, that's not a great way to live.
No.
I wouldn't even call it living, but so many people do it. And a lot of it is just because we don't feel like we can talk to each other. We don't feel like we can have those open and honest conversations. And on the flip side of that, we're not good listeners. We're really not good listeners. And exactly. And even people listening to like podcasts or interviews or anything where it's a dynamic of one person really running the show and another person kind of chiming in or giving their opinion. Like it's rarely a time when you really hear good listening or see good listening because everyone is just trying to chime in. Everybody's just trying to get their point across. And that is another human element where it's like, if I hear somebody say something that resonates with me, for some reason, I feel I have to tell my story too. Like I have to jump in. Hey, oh, that happened to you? Well, this happened to me too. And it's like, wait a second. Like now you've hijacked the conversation.
Oh, God, get out of my head, man. I got to tell you two things here. And it's just super frustrating because I feel like it's not even frustrating. It's like silly frustrating because you're saying that. And in my head, and it's like this weird inception thing going on. I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm like, yeah, I want to tell him this. And I'm listening. I'm like, wait, focus. Because he's literally telling you what you were doing. Stop. And it's like, oh, yeah, I will. But listen, though, this one, stop it. Yeah, but listen. And it's the dumbest thing because I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, you were absolutely right. Because I think a lot of the times, especially if you're a social-esque kind of person, or you're excitable, I'm more excitable than social-esque. I mean, I have no qualms talking to people. I literally do that for a living. And I'm trying to make this a living. Please, God, help me and save me and pay me, please. Anyway, it's one of these situations where I'll hear something and I'll somehow assimilate it to something that I've done in my life, or a situation or a story or yada, yada, yada. And I will hear them and I'll pick out the bullet points. And instead of sitting back and waiting your turn, like, I don't know, an adult, you're in your head formulating your response before they're done with their response.
Yep.
And how many... it's funny because we literally recorded an episode last night, and it was about patience. And case in point, instead of being patient, there's nothing wrong with being excitable. But when you're listening to somebody's story, especially in like an interview platform or atmosphere or whatever, you invited somebody on to your show or whatever to hear their story. You're not here to tell them your story. They're not here for your story. I mean, yeah, you can have a nice back and forth and all that, but that's not what this is about. They didn't reach out to you. It was vice versa. So it's really interesting how, you said that, and how many things, when you just sit back and think about it, how many things you miss out in a conversation because you're so much involved with your response. That's crazy. Get out of my head.
And I tell you what, I don't be too hard on yourself in regard to that, because that's the world we live in. Like, literally, I can't, when you read an article, just going to Google, Yahoo, CNN, wherever you get any type of pop culture, sports, anything that has a lot of clicks. Like, it usually begins with this person did this, or this person said this, whether it be a political figure, a pop star, whoever it is. And then immediately it's followed with people are kind of mixed reactions of how they feel about it. And I think to myself, like, who the hell cares? Like, who cares? like, I don't understand. Like, someone will, say something about how they raised their child in Hollywood. And like other parents are mixed reactions on. I was like, that's not my kid. I don't care.
Right.
Like, that's not I really don't care. And I'm not trying to say like this is something I've always had. Like, I've worked through, like, don't get me wrong. 15 years ago, I was probably the guy in Facebook, probably arguing with people online. Right. And then I came to a realization that there is nothing that I can say, write, explain, describe that's going to change this person's opinion right now. Like, they've been going through life, and then they're going to read one like message from me online and be like, you know what?
Epiphany.
That guy used the right words. And it's like, no. And once you get to that point where it's like, I remember the first time I was having a conversation with people on a specific topic, and it's a trigger topic, and people get upset about it. And the two people were talking about it, and they looked over at me because I was being quiet, and they said, Mark, what do you think about this? And I said, I don't have an opinion on this right now. And I remember like just the look in their faces of like, holy shit, you can do that? Like, you can, like, they didn't know how to respond. It wasn't specifically transgender rights. It was something in regard to a sport. I can't remember if it was a trans person playing a men's or women. I forgot the specific comment.
That was a big thing for a little bit. Yeah.
It was a big thing. And I thought to myself, and I'm like, they make up like 1%. When I say they, I don't mean to put it like that, but transgender people make up.
Oh, we're not PC on this podcast. Say what you want to.
They make up, like, I don't know what the specific number is, but it's like 1 to 3%, less than that of the population. And I'm like, I'm sitting at dinner with people I'm trying to get to know, and like build a rapport with, and who starts there? Like who
Right?
starts there? Like I mean,
Well, you know what it
and
is? I think a lot of people, they need to have you on board with them.
yes,
It's that oh, I can't think of the verbiage on it, but it's that cult, not cult mentality. That's not, but oh God, I can't remember. Power and
it's
numbers, whatever. Let's just
yeah.
call it that.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, he's backing my cause, so he's
Hmm.
fine with me.
Yep.
Or you can maybe take him at face value and realize that you don't have to have the same opinion. You don't have to have the same values. You could be at people with people and go from there.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, you're speaking my language, because I remember I was in one of the last times I was in New York for work, and it was 2000, I want to say 2008, 2009, around that time. And if people listening to this, if you remember, so we're a couple years past 9/11, and every New Yorkers, they're trying to rebuild, and one of the hot topics was they're building a mosque in New York.
I remember that.
And
Yeah.
this literally had nothing to do with nothing. It's just on its own as a mosque, but of course people are
Right.
being people, and I have no problem with people protesting. That's the great thing about this country. If you want to protest, go protest. But I remember one of the people I was with at work assumed, and that's the crazy part. And he was like, can you believe they're building I can't believe they're just going to build one of those right in the middle of after all that happened. And I looked at him, I'm like, what? Why would you go just head first into that conversation like that? I don't care. It's not that I'm not saying I don't care in that negative connotation, but it's like, what does this have to do with us? We're at dinner, man. We literally just sat down. You're that upset. And then with my response, again, it was the kind of, and I'm not one of those people where I don't have an opinion on something. I don't feel strongly about something, but ask me about what I want my kids to study in school, or ask me about what I want my kids nutrition, or ask me about how I want to live my life as a father and as a neighbor. Ask me about that. Then this is what I should do. But if you're going to ask me about something that literally has nothing to do with my life at the moment, and I have a million other things to worry about, my brain cannot, I have a man's brain. Let's remember that. I can't handle more than 1.5 things at a time. And that 0.5, you're not.
Yeah, I was going to say, where the hell did you get that 0.5?
The 0.5, I'm giving myself a little extra. But yeah, it's just, I think that you're absolutely correct, where it's just one of those things where it's if I have to figure this person out. Either they're with me or they're against me.
Right.
Either way, I'm cool with it, because either I have an ally or I got somebody to go back and forth with. And it's why can't we just still?
And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I when you said the whole 9/11 thing with the mosque, and I'm sitting there thinking, as you're talking, once again. Anyway, I'm sitting there thinking, what would be a great response? Perfect. Would you have really given a fuck if it was 9/10? You wouldn't have? Then shut up. Doesn't matter. Now that it's 9/11, everything changed. I mean, I get it. Look, I'm not trying to discredit it. The whole thing sucks. Mm-hmm. But if you just look at what's being done, what happened, now what you're doing, is that disrespectful to? No, it's not. This was going to happen anyway. What, all of a sudden now it's no, you were all no, I the whole mob mentality, that's also the verbiage I was looking for before. Super good with words, obviously. Yeah, anyway, it is the silliest thing, and I will never understand it. And it's funny because you're right, you do have to think about what you do and what you say. I saw a post today. Are you a football fan?
I am, yes.
Okay, good man. So this is mob mentality. I love you now. God, we are fucking lizards. Yeah. Anyway, saw this post about Kaepernick saying, "Yeah, I'm still looking to get in the league," and I thought about something. I'm like, all right. Now I know the divisive, the divisive situation with some people enjoy what he did, some people don't enjoy what he did. Fine. I get it. But I thought about it and I was like, I'm just going to say what I want to say. And this is what I said. You're bad at football. You should stop. That's it. But you look at the comments and it's like basically white power over here
Mm-hmm.
and Black Lives Matter over
Mm-hmm.
here. And it's like, hey, how about instead of being on two sides of the spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
you just comment on what he's saying. Forget the politics. I understand that he is quote unquote a polarizing figure, and he shouldn't be, because like he stood up for what he believed in. I got zero qualms with that. Do you. That's the beautiful thing about being a person. You have the opportunity to do things like this. You're not hurting anybody. You're standing up for your belief. If anyone has a problem, it seems silly if you have a problem with that, because how is that any different than you speaking your truth or whatever you want to call it? You know what I mean? Like, it just seems, anyway, I don't know.
I will say this, because I apparently you and I are going to hit all the topics that polarize America today. That's what we're going to do in the first 22 minutes. Hey, let's do it. Why not? Why the hell not? But the Kaepernick thing was fascinating to me, because I'm an overly empathetic person. Like I can't change that. Like that's just how I'm wired, and I do this.
How dare
thing.
you?
Yeah,
be nice
exactly.
to people and care.
Exactly.
What a dick.
So, but it's to a point. It's to a point where I try to empathize with every thought process, every person's way of thinking, and try to at least understand it.
Right.
And if I get to a point where I can say, okay, I totally understand factually and reasonably, I understand why this person has this fear or why they feel this way, then honestly, then I feel better about myself. It's a little selfish to do, but it's how my brain works. But you think about that what you just mentioned and it being polarizing. There's a lot of layers to this, but one of the things that always bugged me about that was how he did things. And let's be honest, he did them the right way. Like, he was sitting.
Right.
Someone came to him and explained that he believed it was offensive. Kaepernick sat down, had a conversation with him. He said, hey, I know it's not about the military. Do you mind kneeling? Because that's what we do for our fallen friends and soldiers. And he said, that's a great idea. I want to respect you. And at the same time, just silently protest. Doesn't affect the game, doesn't affect my team, doesn't affect the outcome of the game, doesn't affect anything. But
as well, he thought it wouldn't.
He thought it wouldn't. He thought it wouldn't. And I think this is one of the things that it's a great social science experiment, because, if you turn it around and say, well, Tim Tebow is going to kneel when he scores a touchdown because of his religion.
There you go.
Or apparently people can get away with crimes but still be let back on their team and not be good individuals. So there are spectrums to things, and this is one of the things that I have come to a realization that we're just not going to agree as a nation. Like, we're not going to agree. And guess what? I'm okay. Would I like it to have ended differently? Of course. But I understand that people have the right to feel the way they feel, however unreasonable I believe it is.
Look, let's just pull the Band-Aid off. If he was white, it wouldn't have happened.
Okay, you said it. Yeah, absolutely correct.
Look, if he was a white guy kneeling, there may have been a bit of an uproar about, from the old vets and all that. But he was guilty of being black in America. Mm-hmm. And we all know that as a terrible, terrible crime. And, that's just really what it came down to.
Yep.
And then he was ostracized. And, let's be honest, he'd be out of the league anyway because he was shitty. But that's more his just abilities as a quarterback. But no, that's exactly what it was. And anyone that doesn't look at it that way, you're lying to yourself. It's just it and I hate to say it that way, but sorry.
Call a spade a spade.
America.
America.
You know, I don't know. It's a shame. But and I don't even know how we're going down these rabbit holes, but this is generally how this podcast works.
Hey, let's do it.
Welcome.
Yeah.
And I apologize for bringing you on because now you're in this circle.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I don't know if we should, bring up, Bin Laden or go Hitler route, like something just way off.
That may ruffle some feathers.
Yeah. I mean, we're So, and let's not do that. I was just joking.
Yeah,
anybody who like just tuned in, like right now. I don't know how anybody would just start the show right now.
It's like Hitler and Bin Laden. Let me go get my popcorn here. Hold on, we got a fucking show here. Let's go. So to kind of not really switch gears, but switch gears. Let's kind of go back into the mental health deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, reading your bio, you said you had some difficulties. So, what happened? What did you go through? What was your epiphany? Tell your story here.
I'll kind of tell an abridged version
as much as you want. Like, don't.
Well, I mean, listen. I'm 44 years old, and this has been a journey I've been on my entire life.
Okay.
And as a kid, like I literally was like the most happy-go-lucky child in the world. Like I really was. Like nothing affected me. Nothing really got me down. I love to socialize. I love to be the center of attention. Like it was just, it was two-parent household, twin brother, older sister, suburbs of Atlanta, like good schooling, private high. I mean, it like looking on paper, you're like, this dude had it all. Like this dude was good.
That don't mean a damn thing, though.
Yeah. And, it was looking back, I had a lot of these feelings of inadequacy. And, I have a twin brother who literally was like good at everything he touched. He still is. He's a naval officer. Like he's a nuclear engineer. Like it's one of those things where natural talent plus hard work. And it's like, okay, I kind of have some talent, but I lack the hard work. And don't get me wrong, I work hard now. It took a while to get there, but
right.
It was a lot of not only me comparing myself to my brother, but also others. And that kind of took a toll on me. And I was one of those guys that I was the class clown and I made everybody laugh. And that was just my way of kind of hiding things.
Okay.
And every once in a while, someone will get close enough to me and they'd be like, you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to make that joke. Like, we can talk. And it's like, stop looking through my soul. Like, who invited you? Who invited you to do that? And, we were both, good athletes. And, he went to Naval Academy for soccer. I went to Clemson for soccer. So we were both good at what we did. And my first year at Clemson was not good mentally because I got thrown into a place where everyone on the team was the man at their school. Like everyone on the team was the best player. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't mentally prepared. I was one of those guys that would just, whenever it comes, I'll take it. Like I'm not going to prepare for anything. I feel good just winging it. And that had worked okay I'm not saying it worked great. It had worked okay for me. I had a lot of good friends and I got to a point where I was just like, I don't feel like myself, and I don't feel, not welcome is not the word, but I just don't feel comfortable here. And I decided, I don't know why, again, when I tell this story, like I have no idea why I decided to see a therapist as a freshman in college. Like I can't tell you what made me say, let me go talk to somebody. But I'm so glad I did, because as a 19-year-old, I walked into there, and I remember just for the first time in a long time, like there was a conversation I had that someone just listened and didn't judge me, and didn't say, and then immediately after I say something said, well, you know what you should do. And it's like,
Right. You love those, right?
like if I wanted that, I literally would have talked to myself.
Right.
But, and you kind of fast forward in a couple years into adulthood, and I did the normal: graduate, start drinking too much, start eating too much, don't really work out like you used to, and the waistline goes up, the thoughts about your self-esteem goes down. You work a few crappy jobs, you figure out that you actually have to save your money, you can't just continue to spend it. And I remember getting to a point where I had a crappy job, I didn't feel good about myself, and I had to make a change, or I was going down a terrible path. Like I was not going to be around very long. And I know people are like, that's hyperbole. Like you're just, saying, but the way I was eating, the way I was drinking, and at no point would I say I was an alcoholic, but it's like, I would binge drink from time to time, and just wake up and go to work, and everybody would think everything is good. And I actually had a manager once. This is a true story. A manager once who told me that I was good at my job because he would go out drinking with me. He would see me drinking. He wouldn't drink as much as I would, but he would be like, you can go out, you can have a good time, you can stay out till 2, 3 in the morning, and guess what? You'll be at work in the morning. You won't miss a beat. That's why. And looking back, like that should have been a signal.
Right. Like that's a terrible thing to advocate for.
That's a horrible thing to say. And I decided, I had one bad therapist, and I'm not gonna say bad therapist. I had a therapist that I didn't connect with. I don't think him and I were on the same wavelength, and thank God I got, and I mean this, thank God I got fired from a job, which I deserved to get fired from. I was a horrible employee, and I'm probably being a little hard on myself, but I went to a job where I had a very good, understanding manager, and I started going to therapy again, and got a great therapist. And he's one of those guys he's ultra nice, really nice, but he cuts deep and at the right time. Like he has so how does that make you feel? Like perfectly timed.
Yeah.
Like, tell me more about that. It's
no.
Shit, I thought we were done with that. Like, and then like, no. And he always bring it back. Like I go on a tangent over here. It's like, well, let's bring that back. I want to talk about, oh man, like, no, I talk about my relationship with my mom. Like, let's not do this right now. And it's, but it was all worth it. And if you read my bio, you probably saw that like there was points in my life where I was really focused on the mental health, and points in my life where I was really focused on physical health and kind of forgot about, mentally. I mean, there was a point where I'd lost 100 pounds because I gained so much weight, but I tell you what, I was in pants and shirts I hadn't worn in a decade. And I was at a job that I liked, and I felt like crap inside, and I had no idea why. And I remember I talked to my therapist. I called him on the phone. I hadn't seen him in a while. And I told him, I said, listen, I've gotten fit. I have a good job. I'm in management now. I got married. I bought the house. I have kids. Like, I've checked all the boxes, man. Like, I've checked all of them. Like, why do I still feel like this? And he was just like, all right, you're coming back in. We need to talk about this. And that was when I came back in, that was the first time someone had mentioned the word or the words high functioning anxiety to me. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, everyone has these thoughts. Like, everyone figures that something bad's going to happen eventually. Everyone's thinking 1,000 things in their brain at one time. Like, everyone's like this. And he's like, no, no, they're not. And I was like, oh, interesting.
Right.
Interesting. That's different. So, and it was great that I went back in with him, because he kind of explained that what I just told you at the beginning, like, our feelings make things real even when they're not. Like, he was like, your brain will tell you it's raining outside, it's dreary, it's thunderstorms, it's lightning. But then when you look outside, it's a beautiful day.
Right.
And it's like, so, yeah.
And it's crazy too, because you will, I for whatever reason, we use rabbit hole a lot on this podcast. I don't know. We may need to make like a rabbit hole kind of picture for the logo, but it is a gross rabbit hole you can make yourself go down when you have that one negative thought. Then that multiplies. Like, they're little, they're like rabbits. Oh, well, there you go. Jesus Christ.
There you go.
Wow, that was not intentional. Okay. But they just multiply like rabbits, and you will eventually manifest some grandiose, terrible situation because of one stressor that just triggered this whole novel that you have just written in your noggin. And why are you doing that? Well, I'm not really doing it on purpose. If I could not do it, I wouldn't, because it's a shitty existence. It's funny, you actually talking to you actually made me kind of realize something about myself. And that's one of the big reasons I like doing these interviews, is because I find crazy cool perspective that comes from people I've never met, and just different ways to think about things. So, let me turn this light back on here, because the wife bought these Amazon lights that never really operate right. So I'll just be talking and the lights will go off, and yeah. Anyway,
but I saw this in real time for myself once, which I was like, wow, this is real. I had, when I was managing this young lady who I still keep in contact with, and talk about anxiety out of the ass. Like, I thought I was anxious, and she beats me every day of the week, twice on Sundays. Yeah. And, so I'm managing at this startup company, and my team starts out small and then gets bigger and bigger. And, as your teams get bigger, you don't have as much time to spend with everybody. And it's kind of managerial nature, where we leave the people alone that we know are going to do their jobs. And it's really not fair to them, but a lot of them like it that way. But it is, right. And I get a Slack message one day from this young lady, and she's like, "Hey, can I put some time in your calendar?" And I'm working and whatever. I'm like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead, go, cool, yeah, let's do it." And so we jump on this meeting, and she's like, "I just kind of wanted to talk about, how you feel about me, and why we've had this disconnect, and what I'm doing wrong, and how I'm like, what are you talking about?" Right. And I was like, you could have started the conversation a million different ways. Yeah. And I would not have guessed this. I was like, why do you feel this way? Well, I feel like on our meetings, you're kind of short with me, and you don't really talk to me that much. And when I think I'm bothering you. 'Cause I don't need to. That was like, she was so anxious about her work that she overdid everything, and it was so detailed and so good, and she literally just got me on the phone to like co-sign the good work she was doing. And I would keep telling her, like, you don't need me for this, need me for this. And I was like, first of all, like, let me apologize if you feel that way. Like, I don't want you to feel that way, and now that I know this, like, I'll at least make sure I check in on you. But no, we're fine. We're just fine. Like, you do good work, and I don't have to babysit you. Right. And it you could just see like the relief, like in her face. Like, she thought I like hated her, and I'm like, I don't. no, it's
the
crazy.
the funny thing is too, and this definitely segues back to, our previous episode here about the whole patience thing. If she was too patient, instead of coming to you and saying, hey, are we all good here? Like, I don't know. I mean, is there a reason we're not really communicating as much? She let that fester, and that became like this hole in her. And she's over here damn near in tears. Like, why do you hate me? It's like, dude, you just do really good work. I don't need to spend my time on you. I need to spend the time on the people that are sucky at their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of what managers do. And generally speaking, as you said, employees kind of are like, yeah, if you could just kind of fuck off and leave me be, that'd be super. That's preferred. But yeah, it makes perfect sense. And really quick, I just want to touch on this before I forget the whole epiphany thing I had. I think me starting podcasting was what I was personally missing.
Isn't it great? Isn't it great? Isn't it great?
It is. I get to talk about the weird shower conversations I have with myself on and put that out into the ether. And there are some weird people that enjoy listening to me and my friend talk. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with y'all, but okay. It's and I don't really know why I didn't really think of that ever, but just speaking with you kind of just made that idea come to the forefront of my head. I'm like, wow, was that my thing here? Huh.
This is my meditation. Like I tell you, I'm sucky at actual meditation because my brain is, and to meditate, you have to really be intentional about it. But like, this is my meditation. Like I could have the worst day ever. I could be exhausted. I could be tired. But once like I record a show or someone is like, hey, come record with me or come, like this is my zone. Like this is, I love it. Like I just love it. And I had a great recording today on the 6 a.m. Run podcast with a very interesting author and coach and public speaker. And he was just dropping nuggets, nugget after nugget. And I even said at the end of the show, I was like, this is the show you want to like download and go back to every few months. Because like, and it's enriching. Like, again, I have an audience that listens to the show. I understand that. But I was like, personally, I'm getting a lot out of this. Like this is great.
Well, and I look, I'm definitely, because we use, what is it? Pod Chaser or Pod something?
Podmatch.
Podmatch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Podmatch people. I'm not good at my stuff. I don't just click on everyone that comes across my little algorithm. Like I really actually look at the profiles and then I go in and I click them and okay, I feel like I can actually have a conversation with this person and it won't be like, yeah, okay, all right, are we done yet? Can you send us to your people so people can listen to like that's not, I mean, obviously everybody wants views and all that stuff, but if I'm going to be spending my time and I'm going to be stealing your time, I want to make sure it's actually going to be at least at face value. Before we even start speaking, we're going to feng shui.
Yeah.
And it's definitely cool because I will continuously pull things from people. It's like, yeah, I dig that. And like, I'll find myself halfway through the show, like, I wonder if we can do a part 2 at some point.
Right.
And I feel like these things are entertainment, but depending on what, where you're at with what you're listening to and what you're looking to gain from it. I feel like there's a lot of times just having conversations with people, you learn more than you really think you do. And you have that come to Jesus moment at 2 a.m. You're like, that all right, fair enough. That guy had something to say there. I dig it.
Yeah. I two things. One, I for the first season of 6 a.m., I wasn't picking the guest, and most of them were great. I'll be honest, most of them were great. But I remember the couple guests where I would ask a question, and literally I would get a 2-sentence answer.
Oh, gross!
And it would just like stop. And listen, I can pull a lot of conversation out of my ass. I can.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you're a technical expert on, and we're talking about your technical expertise in a specific field, and you want me to pull shit out of my ass, like it's very like let's see where it goes. And it's like, oh, so you do this? Yes, I do, and this is what I've done, and I've done it for this many years. Like, do you care to elaborate? And it's like,
Right. It's like, that's cool.
But
I mean, at that point, you're almost like, why did you even come on if you were going to
exactly,
talk? Like,
exactly. Why are you on this? Like, why are you on this platform? Like, Jesus. But to your second point about learning, and people, like I had one of my good friends, I had a woman who was an artist. We went to high school together. She actually painted a picture for our house when we moved back down to Georgia.
Really?
A talented artist, Lauren, and I'm definitely gonna probably share this portion with her because she is just amazing, a beautiful woman, beautiful soul, beautiful. I mean, has gorgeous kids, and she came on and she's very vocal about postpartum. She's very vocal about it,
Okay.
and I had never really had that conversation, and she reached out to me. I reached out to her and was like, hey, would you be willing to have this conversation? She said, yes, definitely. I want to talk about it. And I had been in therapy multiple years at this time. And one thing she said to me, and I'm trying to get it as close to verbatim as possible, but she advocates for therapy because like their job is to go into someone's life and hold that weight for them. And I never thought about therapy that way. I never thought about being able to go to a person, a stranger, who their job is to, for at least a portion of my life, take all that weight off of my shoulders and hold it for me so I can relax for a moment. And I had never thought about it that way. And it totally changed my thinking on how I looked at therapy, because I'm like, absolutely correct. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like, you're absolutely right. And I never, and you're absolutely, I mean, the things you get from people who, the one part of it is you talk to people you never met before, and they kind of open your eyes. But then you talk to people who you've known for a while, and you're like, man, I really wish we had this conversation a long time ago. And you know, her name is Lauren Dawson, and she is just an amazing artist, Lauren Faith Dawson. She actually does it full time now. She used to teach art, and I have a one of her, and you know, on the wall of my house, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Huh. Mm. I like that. That makes me happy.
It makes me really happy.
Because you think about it, like, yeah, that really is a cool, like, I guess, and the foundation of it, of the whole therapy, it let me alleviate this from you so you can maybe see things a little bit more clearly.
Exactly.
And now we can actually approach this without this weight on you. You know, you can approach this from a clear head, because you couldn't do that before, because you would either somehow or another deviate from where your thought process was. And as much progress as you're making, you end up hitting that roadblock because that is in your way. I'm going to get that out of your way, and you're going to keep going on your path, and we're going to get to the bottom of whatever we're getting to the bottom of. So that's a real cool way to look at that. And look, you know what's even more interesting about that whole thing too? You're a dude. And dudes don't do that. They don't go and talk about their problems. You know, look, my co-host used to be my boss, which is wild. And, you know, he has told me a lot of things, and explained a lot of things about, guys don't really do that. They don't talk about their problem. And it's even funny because, like, we can't even be vulnerable with each other, because it's because we even made this joke yesterday. It's like, yeah, like, man, I love you. I appreciate you. Yeah, you little queer. It's like, why can't you just be vulnerable without having
Yeah.
the whole little like, no, 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 no.
Mm-mm.
It's such a weird, dumb thing because for whatever reason, we are terrified to be
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable. We're terrified to say it because it's all construed as weakness. And,
Mm-hmm.
you're so worried about the outside world, what they're going to think. This is about your,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, you're going home with you, and you have to look at yourself. Friends don't matter. Your wife doesn't matter. Your friends, I already said friends. None of that stuff matters. You have to be cool with you. And if you're not, and you're too, I guess, stonewalling yourself because you're so afraid of these other external forces, you're not really doing yourself a service. And you're never going to feel okay until you start actually taking care of you.
So I'm gonna pause for a second because I want people to truly understand and feel what you just said, because I'm just gonna pause for like 2 seconds. Okay, we've done it. It's in the show. The pause is there, but what you just explained, I believe, is literally the reason why I'm on this earth. I'm not saying there is this divine intervention for me. I'm not that type of person, but I do feel like there are reasons for things, and I feel energy in, energy out, all that good stuff. Like, you're absolutely correct, and it is a byproduct of the conversations and relationships we had with the men in our lives growing up.
Yeah.
And it's a byproduct of the neighborhoods we lived in, the schools we went to, where man up, or boys don't do that, or men don't do this, was probably said a dozen times a day to each boy. And we're just now seeing the effect that it's having on a generation of men. And that's not me just talking out, the side of my mouth. That's true. I had the same, I'm not going to call them issues, but I didn't talk about these things with my dad.
Mm-mm.
Like, men and the male teachers in school, the principals were always telling us how we had to be, stronger and better at being men. And you don't cry. Like, come on,
I never
don't show
even met
don't
my
sh-
dad.
Yeah.
I never even met my dad. I had a grandfather that raised me.
Yeah. How many times you talk about feelings? And maybe you did. Maybe you did. I don't know. Maybe you did. I don't want to assume anything.
The closest thing I had to talk about feelings is like, hey, that belt hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt that belt on my ass.
I know. And so now it's you're dealing with a generation of men who literally, and let's be honest, don't know what the hell they're doing. And that includes me when it comes to being vulnerable and talking about their feelings and being open. And it's like, how many times would we rather shut down than telling the women we love how we really feel?
Yeah.
How many times would we rather hold a grudge instead of apologizing? And
the pride, the ego. Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely.
And one story, it's not really a story, it's just something that happens that I will tell 1,000 times a day if I can, is after I recorded my first show on Relatively Normal, which was titled Be a Friend, I had about 5 or 6 male friends either call me or text me and say, you said out loud what I've been thinking this whole time. And because the purpose of the show was supposed to be about, mental health from a male perspective, and it's evolved into other things. But my thought process is somehow, some way, people see a 6'5" black man talking about how he feels.
Damn, you're 6'5"? Jesus.
6'5", yeah. 6'5", 235, talking about his feelings.
Right. That doesn't compute. That just
it
throws
does
your whole thing into like, okay.
And then it's like, wait a second. wait, he's doing it, and he's not crucified for it. Wait, maybe I can tell people that I'm not feeling it today.
Yeah.
Maybe I can take one of these so-called mental health days. I've heard about them, but maybe I just need to, and on top of that, which might be the biggest thing for men, and women do a great job of this. I give kudos to women of prioritizing their own health. I swear to God, men will lay down on coals. We'll walk on a broken leg. We will, and the reason we do it is because we feel we have to do it.
Because we're tough.
We're tough. We're tough.
We are tough fucking idiots.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you understand in 5 years you're going to have arthritis in every joint, joint.
I can carry all the bags from the car. It's fine. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about. I got it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And how many times have, like, I remember grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody telling me, this is what a man is supposed to do. This is what you gotta grow up and take care of that. And it's like, we had a generation of women who've grown up to be like, you know what? I was taught to be self-sufficient, but no. I have to take care of you. You have to let me take care of you. But I'm cool. I got, no. I can't be seen with you paying for this. How dare you? It's like, bro, just live. Just live.
I will definitely tell you, I do not subscribe to that notion. I will, not to put everything out there, but the wife, killing it, does very well for herself. Me, I'm not dead. I mean, I definitely make decent money, but
that is such opposite ends of the spectrum. It's
and
like,
I'm just like, and yeah, I pull my weight and all that stuff, but I'm also, no, bet you got more money. I'm just saying, let's have a conversation here. We're gonna go do this, and this, and it's like, are you sure? It's never anything like that. She looks at me. It's like, I don't care. She knows more quote unquote man stuff than me. I can't fix nothing. I'm good at breaking stuff, but she is like, hold my beer. It's like, all right, well, you go do you, have fun. And I think it's super funny because we also covered this on one of the whatever episodes where it's okay. Like, you don't have to be Superman. Like, you can like, just be proud of your woman. Like, there's nothing wrong with the whole gender role thing is ridiculous to me. Do you mean, so hold on, let me get this straight. She works hard and she makes all of this money and I'm supposed to be mad at her? Yeah, that makes sense. That's logical. Oh, you mean we can keep going on trips and cruises and do this stuff because of, the tax bracket she's putting us in? And I'm supposed to be mad? Well, that she's a woman. It's like, what? Like, what are you, high? What are you thinking? It even makes sense.
Oh man, I would never let my don't do it. Like, that's cool.
Going on a cruise, dickhead.
That's fun. Cool. Like, how about you let me live my life, and you continue to live the miserable life you're living, and I'm just gonna, enjoy this, because, like, that's the thing. We're not allowing ourselves as men to really just enjoy it, enjoy life and feel.
Right.
Like, and I understand that a lot of the worth of men is based on what they can give. I understand that. We still live in that society. We still live in a society where men are judged on what they can give to others. I understand that. But I know it's tough. It's tough. But at the same time, I think we're in a great spot to teach the next generation, or the men growing up, that, listen, you can feel how you feel. Like, isn't that weird? Like, you feel how you feel, and a lot of people are like, no, don't feel that way. Don't feel that way.
One of the so I only have one sponsor on my podcast, and I reached out to them. It's BetterHelp, and we do the whole ad read and yada yada yada, and we can add our own little stank to it. One of the things I said, and because I felt it, and I think verbatim, it's like, it's okay to not be okay.
Yep.
And it's a super simplistic sentence, but if you just let that sink in, you're like, yeah, no, yeah, that's right. Like, I don't have to. You don't have to hold everything in and be. What do you get? Like, oh God, it's so stupid. It pisses me off. It really does. It's the dumbest. It's the dumbest idea and way to go about living.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, you're like, how, why? But then when you're in it, and because I lived in it for the longest time, where I just felt like I needed to do this. Come on, you shouldn't feel this way. Just get it done. Just work through it. Blah blah blah. And now looking back, it's like, oh my, like, what were you thinking? It feels alien almost. It's like, why would someone do that? Like,
right?
That's crazy to me. It's crazy, but it's how I lived for such a long time. But now I'm prioritizing my own health, and I've come a long way.
It's okay to cry at the ASPCA commercials. Just saying.
Yes,
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. They're absolutely heart-wrenching.
And look, I mean, I wanted to add to this, but I don't know, like, want to go that route. But look, co-host is black, wife is black, and one of the things that's very interesting, because you don't really know this part. I'm a white fella, and I didn't know this part, but add to the caveat of guys not wanting to share their feelings. You add the caveat, and this is from my co-host Jermaine, being a black male.
Yep.
That's like 5 times as worse. It's like, oh, so you're a bitch. It's like, no, yeah. No. Just got some feels. It's okay.
That's all. I mean.
Just got the feels. It's fine. And I didn't know that. And that makes me real sad, because it's like, you hear so many stories, and it's like there is no way you're not going through it. Mm-hmm. You're just fine with how this happened or that happened, or what how you're treated being a black male. You're no, it's fine. Okay, I'm sure it is, and it's sad because I don't know. I don't know how you fix that. I don't, other than just doing what you did, and I don't know.
One, I'm glad you brought that up, and you're absolutely correct. When I think it was in my second season of Relatively Normal, and I think it was the month that Ahmaud Arbery and there was George Floyd, and I mean, we had just a terrible month, and
right.
I decided 2 things that week when I recorded. One, I was going to use the words Black Lives Matter in the show notes and in the show, and talk about how these things affected me as a black male. And it was going to be the first time that I actually went out and marketed and promoted the show on social media.
Okay.
Why I thought, like, why I went just absolutely gung-ho and jumped in there like I did, I can't tell you why, but
because you felt it was passionate.
I was.
It was
yes.
in your heart.
And immediately, within about an hour or two, the messages or the comments I was getting on my show, which people hadn't listened to the show, all they saw was Black Lives Matter. All they saw was this black face talking on a podcast.
Right.
And it was like, oh, I wonder, why I got this show promoted to me. Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, and we need to, and it was just, and another one was very racist. And I was like, and immediately I took it off for promotion. I took it off. And I was like, why did I do? And again, I started second guessing everything. Why did I do this? Why did I use this language? Why did I say this? Why couldn't I take a step back? And it's like, and I finally got to a point where I talked to somebody about it, and they had to explain to me, like, listen, you can't control what these people say or think or respond with. Like, all you can do is put yourself out there. And he's like, if you want to take it back, like, take it back. That's cool. You have that out. It's your show.
Right.
You own it. You can do whatever you want to do. But understand that you're going to get people who just can't see the message. Let me take that back. They don't want to see the message.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to. And I had to kind of reframe my thinking on how I did the show and understand that. And that's why I got to a point where I was like, you know what? This is my baby. Like, this is mine. My name's on it. This is, it's going to go out there. Do I care what others like? Would I like to get positive feedback? Of course. Yeah. Everybody wants that validation.
Right.
But I tell you what, I told my daughter this the other day when she cried after she lost a game of horse to one of my friends. I was like, you know why, why you like, I was like, you know why you like winning so much? And she had those tears and she's like, I don't know. I was like, because you know what it feels like to lose. Like, that's why you like winning so much.
Because losing sucks. No one likes to lose. Like, that's...
Yeah. So if I got positive responses and she won all the time, it wouldn't mean anything. It would mean nothing.
The wife is my muse. The wife is my absolute muse, because we have two podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
One of and honestly, this one was supposed to be the family friendly one. Oopsie daisies. It's fine. And the other one was going to be the explicit one. And there was really no differentiating factors between the two. And the wife was like, I just asked her, hey, did you listen to the other one? She's like, no, the one fucking sucks. I'm like, oh, all right. Why? She's like, it literally doesn't make it's no change. It is the exact same type of thing as the other one, just with cussing. I was like, yeah, no, you're right. That makes sense. So we literally changed it. And the X's and O's, we do a topic, then we do a silly draft, and then we do a topic. The other one, it's just a one topic show, and that's what we go on. And from hearing, because I'm excited, the thing is blown. I mean, we've literally been doing this since Easter Sunday. So we're green, and it's a ball, and it's a passion thing, and I love it. It's like crack. I haven't done crack, but I feel like if I did, it would be something like this. So it's very nice. It's euphoric and all that stuff. But hearing the person's opinion that means the most to me say, like, no, I'm not even listening to the other one. It's like, oh, my heart. Hold on here. Yeah, that felt good. And being able to be emotionally, I guess, secure and just having a head on your shoulders and hearing, okay, yeah, it's bad, but why is it bad? Okay, let's take this criticism and make it better. And I don't think a lot of dudes can do that, especially coming from a woman. And it's like, you don't have any ideas. You're just a lady. It's like, what are you doing? I don't know, man.
Oh man,
we're gonna have to do a part 2 on this, dude. Like, there's no way I can't, because what are we at here? I don't know. It was like $1.50 at this point, I think.
Hour 8 on my end.
Oh, never mind then. Okay, I just know people have short attention spans too.
Yeah.
But God, man, you're just impressive. I really like and this isn't hyperbole, because I'm, probably in real life never gonna meet you. So opinion wise, it's like, I'm not gonna kiss your ass. I'm not that guy. But yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm very much a straight shooter.
I pay people to do that. Don't worry about it.
Boy,
yeah.
See, smart. Stroke the ego. There you go. But just speak. You're just an impressive guy, and I think that you have a ton more to share. And please, I would love to kind of have you on another point in time. Like, we obviously have the information there, so if you're free, you ain't doing nothing on a day, come on, no worries. But I do want you to share all You can either do the verbal and the written stuff, or just the written stuff, whatever you want to do. But I want you to give me all your stuff so I can put it in the
Oh
notes.
yeah.
And
I'll
so if
definitely,
you want to plug things, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll definitely send it over. And of course you can, most of the stuff I do is either on Instagram or LinkedIn. And you can find me just Marc Paisant, MarcPaisant on LinkedIn. And then on IG, I have 3 different, and one is just the personal, and it's pretty boring, to be honest with you. But then, and then I have the fitness one, which is the Paisant_fitness, and then the Relatively Normal, which is just Relatively Normal podcast on Instagram. And you might find me on TikTok, but you probably won't find me on TikTok because TikTok scares me.
Super fair. That is a super, super good take.
And I think I've gone on a few times and like, okay, I'm going to do it. I got it. I got this. I'm going to get 100,000 likes in 7 seconds. Then like halfway through, I'm like, I'm tired.
My back hurts.
Yes. So, so you can just find me. And again, I like to tell people all the time, like if you message me on either IG or on LinkedIn, or I am on Facebook, like I will respond and I will talk to anybody who wants to. Nice. Because I think that a lot of times we're so conditioned nowadays to be like, hey, I heard you on the show and great job. And I wish I could do blah, 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 or I wish I had the ability to blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, and we're so accustomed to being like, oh, cool story, bro. Thanks for listening. And it's like, no, I want to like, yes, just like you said, and I'm not going to ask what's stopping you, like in the condescending. I really want us to like go into this. Listen, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'll never say I'm either one of those things, but I'm a good listener and I like to brainstorm and I like to help people with anything they're going through if I have the ability to do it. And that's how I think more people on this earth have that ability. Desperately need it. Yeah. Or on the flip side of it, have the ability to do it. We just choose not to. Like, they
don't know how.
They don't exactly. You're absolutely right about that. But here's the thing. This is, and I'll leave you with this because I want people to know this about me. Like, anxiety and empathy together are really weird. And let me explain this real quick. Everybody knows that feeling of being in a group of new people and being forced to have small talk. Everybody knows that thought that when you come into a room and you have to wait 15 minutes, and we used to do this before we had cell phones, so people couldn't just look on the phone, like, and we had to be people with people, and it was the most awkward thing in the world. And I know everyone in that room feels that tension. And because I know they feel that tension, I'm the one that jumps in and starts the conversations.
Yes.
Because I know, hell, they feel just like I feel. So I'm going to be the one.
Right. And it's like, how you guys feel about a dick joke? It's like, what?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. I'll be your Huckleberry.
So, all right, let's go ahead and get this party started then. And it's it's one of those things where it's like I so many people think no one wants to listen, and I'm telling you right now, I want to listen. I want to listen. So
yeah. And honestly, God, I feel like there are more people out there like you. They just don't know it.
Yep.
And I really do wish more people were like you, though, because you're a super impressive person, man. And that's not hyperbole. That's not bullshit. It's like, you got a lot to offer the world, and I feel like you're actually doing good with your skill set. And it took
me a while to get here. I appreciate it too, and it took me a while to get here, but I figured I'm here now. Let's do it.
I dig it. Well, look, man. I appreciate you, Marc, for coming on so much. Legitimately learned a boatload, and just send me over the notes or all the little links, and I'll put all that on there. And If you want mine, I'll send you mine, and
Oh yeah, I would love yours. Yep.
We'll exchange dick pics or whatever you want to do. I don't know, whatever you're into.
That's what I do. That's the first thing. I'm surprised I haven't asked yet. That's weird. I'm glad you brought it up.
Well, I mean, it was there's nothing wrong with an unsolicited dick pic.
Absolutely nothing wrong.
Nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. Definitely don't tell anybody, like, cop-wise or your wives. It's fine. But yeah, man, look, I appreciate you. I'm going to do my best to end this and not hang up on you.
Okay.
So let me do that. Oh, by the way, this is the X and O's. X's, and we don't even do outros. We don't. Let me not even pretend that we're like that formal. That was Mark. I'm Rich, and please listen to his stuff. All right, let me see if I can not hang up on you. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it is 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to a therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time, night or day, and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you can get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off with your first month at betterhelp.com/XOOF That's betterhelp.com/XOOF life.